You're right there, Donald. He's all hyped
Yeah.
up.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pitchline Chronicles, where fans become family. I am Uncle Tats. I am here with Donald. Man, that sucked. That just sucked. And we had a little. We came in with a different frame of mind before we came on here, where I actually had that feeling like the Yankees were not out of this game. And I just kept feeling like this is going to be one of those comebacks, maybe a walk-off. I was feeling very confident that the bats were gonna pull through. Donald was not as optimistic as I, and motherfucker, he was right again. So, I question my baseball analysis sometimes because I do miss the point a lot. But just want to thank everybody that's already joining us in the chat, everybody that's going to be watching us on Facebook and Twitter as well, or X, whatever the freak they call it now. But let's start with Luis Gil. Let's start with the starter. That was almost like two different pitches in one game. Because for the first couple of innings, he was looking like his old self, and we're like, all right, here we go. Luis Gil's right, he's right in the ship. And then we get to the halfway point in the game. It's crap. Here we go again. And I don't know if it's the pitch count because the velocity is there. I also thought it could have been contributed to a 27 pitch inning, and then he came back out the next inning and everything. He just lost total command of the zone, where it just might be where. When you get those long innings from him, that's when you want to start your bullpen because that's when everything started to unravel for him.
Pete from NYU, according to Jones, says that it's a good point that he was tiring after 45, 50 pitches last few starts. Good morning to Sierra. How are you?
Morning.
Jared, I hate Ellie De La Cruz, man.
You can't hate on him.
He's awesome, man. He is awesome. Can't hate on everyone that doesn't play for the Yankees. That guy's great. Good morning to Ken. How are you? Stevie B. NFE. Salute to NFE. Good morning, Vietnam. That's what it feels like right now. Let's talk about Luis Gil. I've said this the last couple of podcasts. I'll say it again. I think he needs to rest. I think we need to rest him. I think he needs to skip a start or two, and see what the problem is. That's what I would do. I think they need to rest him a couple of days, see what the situation is, see if this is actually an issue of him being fatigued, or whether this is a situation where he needs to go to the bullpen. I think that it's a fatigue issue. I do. I don't want to send him to the bullpen. I really don't. I'd be loath to send him to the bullpen. But I do think this is a fatigue issue, and he needs to be rested. That's what I stick with. Aaron Boone said after the game, he said, "Oh, I don't think it's a fatigue issue." I think it's pretty obvious that it is a fatigue issue.
How would you categorize it?
Well, I think it's clear that it's a fatigue issue because, he does start to tire after one strenuous inning, as you mentioned, 27 pitches. After one strenuous inning, he was tired after that. His changeup started to float into the middle of the zone. And also, he's never pitched this amount of innings before in his career.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. I mean, that was one of the big concerns going into this year, relying on Luis Gil, was that this guy has never pitched this amount of innings before, late into July. So Luis Gil has surprised us all. He shocked us all. We weren't expecting someone to be so good that he was going to start the All-Star game. At this one stage he was, but a couple of starts ago he was absolutely certain to be starting the All-Star game. No one was expecting that. But I am not down on him. I love Luis Gil, and I think Luis Gil has a big future. Well, I know Luis Gil has a big future here. I think it's just a matter of just building his arm strength up and being prepared to eat a lot of innings. That's the next step in his development. He's not all the way developed yet. That's his next step.
Yeah.
It's not immediately overnight. But what I would do is to see if we can get a starter out of him for the stretch run September, October. I have him skip a few starts. But that's incumbent on the Yankees having someone that could step in his place, and they don't have anyone right now that can step in his place. That's another concern. But we'll get into that in a minute or two. Uncle T.
No, I'm trying to be as patient with Gila as I can because of the situation of him coming off the Tommy John. He's already, he's in that area where he's never had to go this, throw this many innings, throw this many pitches in a year. So I want to be patient with the learning curve, with the growing pains. Like you were saying with last year with Volpe. Just let him find his way. He'll figure it out. We're saying that now. I'm saying it now with Ben Rice. Keep him at first base. Don't worry. Don't put him back in catcher. We need a first baseman. That's where some of the depth is missing. Let him just develop as a first baseman and ride the wave with it. There's going to be ebbs and flows when it comes to developing or player development on the major league level. And I want to give the same respect to Luis Gil because I do believe he's going to be a staple in this rotation for a number of years. I think that by next year we're going to see that 1-2 punch of Cole and Gil. So I do want to be patient, but it's just painful to watch how slowly he's progressing. And is it really a situation where, yeah, you know what, I don't like giving skipping starts in the rotation in order or two. We may have to do that with him. I think it's reached that point.
Can I ask
maybe give him an opener?
Can I just jump in with one thing you said? You said you have it's difficult watching him progress slowly. What aspect is he progressing slowly? Because if anything, he's actually progressing much faster than any of us expected.
Well, the wall mid game, where it's either it's the lack of command on his pitches, the confidence in his his arsenal. You saw, and it was brought up in the chat, and they're absolutely right. It was after De La Cruz hit the triple. It's almost like you could just see like the confidence just escape him. Where now you just couldn't command the zone, and they hit batters, which the Yankees I heard them say on the radio yesterday. The Yankees have 7 more hit batters than any other team in baseball. And I was like, is that true? And it's pretty sad. We do have a control issue.
Salute to Izzy.
What's going on, Izzy? So I think it's why not give him an opener. Let somebody take the first inning from him. Maybe that's something that'll kind of help him get a little deeper into the game. What do you think of that?
No, because I really don't think it's anything to do with that. I mean, he's already proven this year that he can go deep in a game. At the moment, he's just tired. I think the only way that you can fix tired is to rest him. I think he needs to entirely skip a start or two, make use of an off day, and then have him skip a start, and then I would use an opener for one game. But one thing he really needs to do is I think he needs to skip a start or two, just to see, and then give him another start and see where we're at, because we need to figure out exactly if we can trust him for the stretch run and October. I think the only way we could do that is to rest him for a couple of starts, or at least one start, and see if maybe that'll help just get his confidence up a little bit and see if we can get something a little bit more out of him before we have to make like serious decisions, like as you mentioned, have him pitch after an opener. Remember, I don't agree with doing that, for one. I really don't.
Okay.
I mean, the Rays have done that in the past and things like that. but I don't agree with it. I think that remember when the Yankees tried to do that with
Debbie Garcia.
Davey Garcia and J Hap, and it completely blew up in their face. I don't see the purpose of it. So what I would do is have him as a starter, or not have him anything at all, because I mean, you could have him out of the bullpen, but I think that's the last case scenario. That's the worst case scenario for me, is to have him pitch out of the bullpen. I'd like him to be a starter. We need his ace like abilities, but we also need to take care of his arm. And I think he's quite clearly telling us that he's tired.
Yeah, I think it. I like this comment here from Nosebleed. Right, when Schmidt comes back, they can both pitch the same game. It will limit his innings and bring Schmidt back slowly. I think that while I wouldn't want to mess with Schmidt like that, I'm you're in the same mindset as I am with finding out a way without taking him out of the rotation, just get a little creative with his innings.
Mm-hmm.
Is really where I'm trying to, that's where I'm trying to problem solve right now. Because like Jones said, he's not going to pitch 140, 150 innings this year. But we do need him in the rotation because he is going to be, like I said, he's going to be that 1A next year. I do believe that.
Yeah.
It's just getting him through this year where he can go into the offseason with the most amount of confidence as possible.
I agree with not giving up on him. I really don't want to give up on him. He's too good. But it's the case of figuring out whether he can give us what we need in the stretch run in October. I think the only way you do that is to have him skip a couple starts, and then if it need be, we take advantage of Poteet coming back. That might be something that Poteet can maybe step in for a bit. I don't believe that Clark Schmidt is a realistic option until August, although he has started to throw from 75 feet, which is a good sign. He's feeling pretty good about that, but at the moment, he's not really a immediate short-term option. We are getting to the point where we might need to look at starters at the deadline, but there's a whole lot of issues that we need to address at the deadline, and it's starting to get pretty big, this list of things that we need to fix at the trade deadline. And I just don't. I really hope that Luis Gil is not a situation where we need to move him to the bullpen, because we need him as a starter. If you want to be serious as a World Series contender, you need that ace caliber stuff that he's got. That's why I don't want to give up on it, but I think he needs to rest a bit.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this quick exchange, talking about bullpen help, starting help. Schmidt will be back in August. It won't be back until August. Ken is saying. Sierra just drew in. Poteet and Schmidt are really, really missed in this rotation as options. Schmidt was having a phenomenal year. Jared is not too happy. He was saying that Gomez sucks. And I'm gonna refute that by saying, like Joan, I'll echo with Joan. He only pitched played in 3 games, but that last game before they sent him down, he also threw a lot of pitches, so he wasn't going to be available. So they optioned him down so they can get more help back, because you can't go without a reliever for 3 games because he threw a lot of pitches. So they had to, now they have to wait that 10-day period before they can bring him back up. So we may see him back up by the end of the week or early next week. So that's where that comes into play. So I don't think Gomez is going to be. He's solid. Don't one rough outing and a long outing at that should not deter you from having confidence in him.
We're getting NFE and Jared are going for it here.
Jared's standing his ground. I look.
This is fun. This is fun. NFE, stop hating on Gomez, Jared. Jared's like, why should I? God damn it. Loving the we're loving the
Hey, look, this is what fans do. We're passionate about our team, and not every fan is going to enjoy watching every player play. There are guys that you're like, why the hell is he on this team? And you're just not gonna. Yeah, I think he does need a hug, Sierra. Jared's usually
he's pissed.
But Jared, look, you're it's all good.
Frederick, we need to remove Ferguson and bring up Neely.
Facts. Look, I'm done with Ferguson.
Is freaking horrible. I think that he might actually go down as one of the very worst bullpen acquisitions in Cashman's long and storied career as a general manager. Caleb Ferguson is right up there. His ERA is touching 6, and he's giving up long balls like it's like he's giving out free fucking coupons. Like it's crazy, man. Steve Schumann.
What's going on, Steve? How is everything going?
How are you?
Good to see you in the chat with us. Yeah, but I'm not worried about him. I'm really not. I'm not worried about Gomez.
Right, but I'm worried about freaking Caleb Ferguson. I'll tell you that he is one of the worst acquisitions I can remember. Why are the Yankees using him as their main lefty guy? He can't get anybody out. Of all the lefty relievers, he has the worst ERA with the number of innings that he has. He's doing nothing. He's horrible. Like, what are we doing with Caleb? This is a joke. Like, they got rid of Gonzalez. Like, super fast. And Gonzalez was better than Caleb Ferguson. Now, I'm not saying Gonzalez was great by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't very good. But I'll tell you what, he was better than Caleb Ferguson. But I'll tell you what, Caleb Ferguson is costing the Yankees seriously, man. I've never seen a quality outing from Caleb Ferguson. Everything he does is terrible. His pitches are right over the zone. He's throwing middle. It's batting practice. He's getting freaking crushed. And Aaron Boone keeps putting him in these situations, and it's not working. Like, why did he come in relief of Luis Gil? Just to make it worse? Why? I mean, you couldn't have brought in Tompkin. You could have brought in someone just to hold the score down. Because that cost us the game. Luis Gil didn't cost us the game. Caleb Ferguson cost us the game.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Ferguson coming in, giving up that 2-run home run, cost us the game. That was it. So Aaron Boone needs to stop wasting time with Caleb Ferguson. He's done. He's kaput. He's Kyle Farnsworth. He's a freaking joke. It's over. It's over with him, and I'm sick of watching him. I know the Yankees bullpen sucks. Okay, I know there's limited options, but you got to be smarter with your youth options. Caleb Ferguson should only be coming in when the Yankees are getting blown out the building.
Yeah,
right.
Blow out
like 14 runs. That's the only time I want to see Caleb Ferguson. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to use and abuse Tonkin and the dudes that actually can get outs, like Luke Weaver, who's brilliant. You have to use and abuse those dudes until we get a quality reliever in. I mean, the only thing I'll blame Brian Cashman for this offseason was he completely misjudged their bullpen this year. And it was something I was saying from the start. This bullpen doesn't miss any bats.
They had a formula that worked for a handful of players with getting these scrap heap guys with the Matt Blake projects, and they were successful. We're seeing the guys that are not successful under Matt Blake's tutelage. And if Matt Blake can't fix them, they got to go. Don't waste time trying to figure, we've seen how quick pitches turn it around. Look at Tonkin. That actually, instead of bringing Ferguson, that was the perfect spot for Tonkin.
That's what I'm saying.
To the strength of the pen.
Yeah.
And he blew it.
In these situations where you're trying to save a precarious situation from getting worse, you want someone that can actually legitimately get out. Ferguson can't get you out. And forget lefty matchups. This guy is completely devoid of being used as a matchup guy. He can't get lefties or righties out. He can't get anybody out. So stop trying. Get him out of this team.
Yep. Take a breath. Take a breath. No, it's really, just real quick in baseball news. Okay, the alert just came through a couple minutes ago. Not Yankee related, but you said how we might need to, with the trade deadline. Well, the trade just happened a few moments ago. They are Aaron Cavalli, however you pronounce his last name, from the Rays, was traded to the Brewers for their 21st prospect. I'm looking to see what the name is. For some reason, it just completely.
What's Cavalli's numbers this year?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny how right as you were saying that the with trading for a pitcher, the alert came through from MLB that the Brewers acquired Cavalli. So I figured we throw that out there because teams. So let's go into this one now. Teams are already making a move. Do we? When do we start going? Let's not wait.
And it's Gregory Barrios prospect.
Thank you. See, NFE's on it. I don't know what they're waiting for. Are they waiting until they Well, you want to talk about? Look, I know he gave up that home run to the number 9 hitter, but that was his 9th home run of the year. So 8 other pitchers gave up a home run to him too. And I know we don't care about other teams, but these players, they're paid to hit. 2 and 6 for Cavalli with
a 5.07 ERA.
What are the Brewers thinking?
But they obviously assume that they can turn him around.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that Matt Blake can turn around, that Brian Cashman can acquire ASAP? Because we can't rely on Caleb Ferguson. We can't.
No, we can't. I think the remedy is Tanner Scott. I think that's the trade. And they got to do it now because every team is going to need bullpen help. Every team. So I actually, you know what? Because everybody's in such a debatable mood today. There are no awards, but we do have our new segment. And I actually have this written in my agree or disagree.
All right,
I have 2 for everybody today because it's a holiday week. Oh yeah. See, I'm ahead of it for once. But here's my agree or disagree for the day. With the expanded playoffs, are the Yankees better off adding players from within rather than trading? Because you're going to have a lot of teams that are in that playoff race where out of the 30 teams, you may have 5 that are just straight sellers.
Okay, that's true.
So the competition and the cost is going to be high.
True.
Do you just bring in, try to fix from within, or do you take the chance of overselling at the deadline? What would you guys in the chat, like, what would you guys do?
Well, long term, it needs to be built from within. That's a good point. From within is the long-term goal.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, I don't think we have any have enough that can get us through to the to a championship with what we have right now. That is ready to help us, especially in the bullpen. So we do need to make some serious moves, probably with the White Sox and with teams that are sellers. But long term, yes, it's within. There's no question about it. Long term within, I would say, but for this year, for this summer, we do need to upgrade out with.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the wild card standings now, right? In the American League, you have 3 teams right now within 5 games or less for that 3rd wild card spot.
Right.
When you get to the National League, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams within 5 games of making that third wild card spot.
Jesus, that's actually worked.
So
Extended playoffs has worked. It really has, isn't it?
but that's what we talked about this a couple of years ago, that expanding the playoffs is going to kill the trade deadline. Not the fact that teams are locking up players younger. It just makes their contracts more movable, in my opinion, because you're not paying the high premium rate for their prime years. You're buying out. It's pretty much you're buying out their arbitration. And Keith McPherson says it all the time. You don't turn down your first chance at riches. So players are going to go for it, unless you're Aaron Judge and you bet on yourself and you're a freaking genius. But we've seen it not go that way. Look at Torres this year; he's banking on himself. Look what he's doing. He's been playing better, so I don't want to. Yeah. So I'll pull that back for now. So you're seeing that the expanded playoffs are killing the trade deadline, because nobody knows what they're gonna want to do yet. They might want to see what their opposition is gonna do. So I think we're gonna see a lot of trades come through within like the last hour of the deadline.
Well, it's really interesting, Tats, and I have to say, their plan to expand the playoffs has worked. It means there's more competition. It means there's more teams still in it.
Again.
Less teams tanking, and there's more competition. So that's a good thing for baseball in general. That's a good thing. For the Yankees' hopes of acquiring some serious deadline help, that's made it a little bit more difficult because there's less teams that are in tank mode. But one of them is the White Sox. we should just pillage the White Sox.
Like the teams I think that are going to be, you have Colorado, Miami,
the
White Sox, Oakland, maybe the Angels. But the Angels are within 9.5 of the wild card. Oakland is 16 out, they're done. The White Sox are 23 out, they're done. Miami's 14, Colorado 15. So those are 4 teams right there that are going to just completely just break it down. I think what's going to be the most costly team to trade with, I think it's going to be Oakland, because they're gonna want to build a good farm to get ready to build a team for when they move. They're gonna want to start in Vegas on a high note, and I think they're gonna be looking for a lot of the other teams' top guys.
Good point. People in the chat, who would you want to acquire out of the bullpen? What kind of names have you got lined up from teams that are tanking that we can pillage? Because our bullpen is in serious help. I can only think of 3 names that I really am okay with. And one of them I'm still very much on the fence about, and that's Clay Holmes. But otherwise, it's basically Luke Weaver and our boy Tonkin, the everyone's favorite stepdad. So, Sierra says Michael Kopech. Chris, good to see Chris in the chat. Not seen Chris in a while. Good to see you, man. How are you, brother? Tanner Scott. Yeah, Tanner Scott is the most obvious one for sure.
Yeah.
Frederick is wondering whether the A's are going to Sacramento or Vegas.
Yep.
You know what? Sacramento is a good shout. That would be kind of cool because they've got a good fan base over there with the Kings in the NBA. I wonder if you expand it and get a baseball team over there, that might be kind of cool. But that's beside the point. But yes, bullpen arms. We need some bullpen arms, and we need to get rid of Caleb Ferguson. I don't know why we keep beating this dead horse with Caleb Ferguson. It's starting to piss me severely off. Because they were very quick to get rid of Gonzalez, and Gonzalez didn't do nearly the egregious stuff that Caleb Ferguson has done.
Yeah.
Like, Gonzalez, it was mediocre. He wasn't great, and he wasn't particularly good, but he was infinitely better than Caleb Ferguson. and I don't understand why they've got their blinders up for Ferguson. They keep using him in these situations that actually hurt us and put games out of reach. But they get rid of Gonzalez, and Gonzalez didn't do nearly the egregious stuff that Caleb Ferguson did. So, people in the chat, can you figure that out for me? Was Gonzalez, or am I just blind, or was Gonzalez not nearly as bad as Caleb Ferguson? I want to see
I don't
what
think
my
so.
people have to say. Our people, come to us. There's almost 60 in the chat. Come to us and help me come to that decision, because am I just going insane, or what is it?
Yeah, Sierra's heading into the discussion that Gonzalez threw a gunner on his own. Okay, and when I brought up
I
Oakland,
love Gonzalez. I don't know why that's a bad thing. I thought that was a good thing.
But to clarify, when I brought up Oakland, I'm not, believe me, I do. The Yankees are not allowed to trade with Oakland. I think the whole community decided that no moves with Oakland are allowed. Otherwise, we riot. But I'm just saying, in baseball and overall, I think that Oakland's going to be the toughest team. They're gonna want the most expensive return on their guys. That's all I was saying.
Also, whatever we deal with Oakland, only bad things happen for us.
No,
So,
when you trade with Oakland, I riot. That's it.
Gonzalez was not as
no
bad.
more Oakland, please. But because then when you start talking about who you want, it's also you got to take into account who you're going to have to give up. And I want to propose, you know what? I'm going to add a third agree or disagree, because I'm going to throw this as an agree or disagree to the chat. Ben Rice has played himself into the untouchable range. You consider Ben Rice now untradeable. I think he is now penciled in, as I put it on an NFE show on the Strike Zone, which is a great channel. If you're not subscribed over there, go do so. I said he is now penciled himself in as an untouchable. Because sometimes they it's like you never know when you're gonna get that offer you can't refuse. Then after last night's game, I'm sorry, Ben Rice is untradeable in my opinion. I'm not moving him for shit.
Ben Rice is a big future here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether it's at first base, I'm not sure. But
I do.
As of right now, he looks like he's doing fine at first base. I love his work rate. What I love is his work rate. Apparently, behind the scenes, he's working incredibly hard at first base, and it's paying off because he's not looked bad there at all. There's not been a massive drop off between him and Rizzo by any stretch of the imagination defensively, and Rizzo was a multiple Gold Glove caliber first baseman, so that says a lot for Ben Rice. And more importantly, his at bats have been really good and really professional, and he's undaunted by facing big league pitching, and he's been seamless in his transition from AAA up to the bigs. His at bats have been so good. And it's been so good that Aaron Judge has been saying it. And now you know that Aaron Judge runs the organization, right? And rightfully so. So when Aaron Judge says, "I'm loving what I'm seeing from Ben Rice," that means that he's given the stamp of approval. So I don't see any chance that Ben Rice is going to get moved anytime soon. But so certainly for this year in the immediate future, no, Ben Rice is untouchable. But I hesitate to put anyone in the untouchable category other than the immediate names, like, well, obviously Judge and Soto are unquestionable, but like Dominguez and Spencer Jones, those are only the dudes that I would consider being untouchable. But Ben Rice is being considered in there. Luis Gil, I would also say, is untouchable, but I would say very few are untouchable, other than that handful of names. But Ben Rice is giving us that conversation, and that's great. But he ain't going anywhere for the immediate, and I want to see more out of him. I want to see him develop, and there's every chance that he could be our catcher next year. because Austin Wells hasn't done anything which is particularly mind blowing. He's done fine. He's been okay. He's been adequate. And Trevino, I'm sick of Trevino. I want Trevino gone. Oh, I'm so tired of him. Please, God, get me rid of that Trevino. So there's a chance that maybe Ben Rice could step in and be the catcher next year.
So then trade Ramirez then. Why hold on to the catches?
Well, I'm happy with competition. So FJ says, I think the Yankees see Rice as a catcher, not a first baseman. I agree with that. I agree that it's important not to close the book on his natural position because we're hardly fixed at catcher right now. But Aaron Boone did point out that it's going to take him a little bit more time for him to be a catcher in the majors because he needs to get used to pitch calm and he needs to get used to the signs, the signals, and working with all guys like Garrett Cole and stuff like that. So that's more of a long-term project. But in the meantime, he's doing absolutely fine at first base. And I'm very proud of the dude, to be honest. I think it takes a lot. If there's an argument to say that he's untouchable, it's because he's so undaunted by this step up. He's very cool, calm, and collected, and he's taken that approach to his at bats and his quality of work at first base. So that says a lot to me that he can certainly handle being a Yankee for the future.
Yep. Well, I think they're so high on Ramirez right now. I think that's the reason why Ben Rice was transitioned to first base because they know what he can do at the plate and the type of hitter he is. They need because he's a great he's a good contact guy. He's very patient in the box. That's why they're transitioning to first. If they were that high on Rice being a catcher, they would have never moved him. That's how I feel about it. Now that they've made the decision to put him at first base, they have to leave him there. Don't put him back behind the plate because I think I think it could do more harm than good. Especially the way that they're also bragging about Ramirez. So I think next year we're going to see Wells and Ramirez behind the plate, Rice at first, who could also be your emergency catcher because we know he does have that skill set in his on his resume. That's how I think it's going to go.
I'm looking at Ben Rice's Savant page. Now he's not qualified just yet, but at the early signs, it's basically a ton of reds for him, which is all good.
In the eye test, absolutely.
And more importantly, his fielding has been above average. His fielding has been definitely above average. So that's a good sign. But I'll be interested to see when he does qualify what it's going to look like. But I wanted to check it out because I don't think I've seen many or any misplays from Ben Rice at first. One or two things that it just takes a little bit of experience with, but he's been far from a problem. And that's a good thing from us because that means that we don't need to necessarily look at first base at the trade deadline. But we can now focus at third base and allow DJ LeMahieu to platoon. DJ's at bats have been better. Like he's hitting the ball with a little bit more authority, but we need to upgrade at third base, I think.
Yeah, FJ saying, then Rumfield should be traded. Like I said, if the offer is there and it's the right offer for the right fix, I think just saying, well, we don't want to trade any of our guys because we all have like I was saying earlier in the show, we all have those players that we like and we don't want to move on from. Right? But it gets to that point where they just become a memory. It's who's we still talk about Urshela, but is him not being on this team costing us a championship? No. Same thing when we moved on from Didi. Same thing when we moved on, from a few of these guys. Look, we all thought, we have players that we're just really fans of. And when they move on, we try to root for them, but they're not moving the needle on us.
No, we don't want to let go Rumfield for nothing. That is a fact. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So, Tats, you've given us your 2 questions. What's the third question?
Okay. My third, agree or disagree. Bone's biggest weakness is his inability to manage players out of a slump.
Woo! Bringing in the fire. I love that question. That's a good one. It's my favorite one so far.
Agree or disagree?
Well, there's actually
a few weaknesses. That's the biggest.
I don't think that's his biggest.
Okay.
I think his biggest is holding people accountable. I would say is his biggest, or his inability to get a team out of a slump rather than individuals. Because if you look at it, he sat Anthony Rizzo for 2-3 days, and Anthony Rizzo, prior to him going down with the injury, which was purely accidental, he was looking better. He was starting to hit a little bit better. So you could say, you know what? That kind of worked. Gleyber Torres, he sat for 2-3 days. Gleyber Torres has come back and he's batting almost 500 since resting for a couple of days. So you could argue that he's actually handled that pretty well. So that is a good. I think that's an argument that could be made. What I would say is he struggles to get a team out of a slump, though, because when a team starts to spiral, he doesn't seem to know how to get that team back up, because he only has he's a one-trick pony in which it's all about loving the players and trusting them and all that stuff, and that really works when the team can police itself and doesn't need too much management. But if the team is in a slump, I don't know if he knows how to hold them to account. Case in point, last year when things started to spiral, and he wasn't really holding people accountable, and then it got worse, and it got worse, and it got worse. So I'm a little bit concerned now because the Yankees are playing really bad baseball. I believe are they like 5-12 or something like that? I believe over the last recent stretch, they're kind of playing some bad baseball, and we're keeping the same stuff. Keep hearing the same stuff. That's what I would say is his weakness. Another thing is his weakness is literally his bullpen management.
See, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I would say that either his bullpen management or holding the team to account is probably his biggest weakness. But he has been a better manager this year. I'm not saying that he's incompetent, he's terrible, and all that stuff, but I think those are his 2 major issues, and it's probably stopping us from reaching our potential.
Yeah, no, I do not. See, I actually disagree with my own question because, I don't think that's his biggest weakness. And you very specifically pointed out 4 players are, right off the bat who got that rest time, and we saw the improvement. It takes him a while to get to that point of benching them, but I think his biggest weakness is his bullpen management.
Yeah,
I think that's his biggest weakness as a manager.
I agree with that. Lots of differing opinions in the chat, and that's really cool because that was actually a really good question, man. Because there's a few things you could look at with Aaron Boone. So if you're saying that's his biggest strength, biggest weakness, what's his biggest strength? Just as a matter of interest.
Oh, his biggest strength?
Yep.
I think it's got to be his strength is the confidence in his players. He will give them every chance they can to fix it on their own before he has to intervene. Yeah, I think that's a strength for him.
Lou says following analytics.
He loves that binder. No. What's going on now? I see you sneak in here.
I think it's his ability to have a harmonious locker room. Nosebleed, having his players' backs. Like, I think that is his biggest strength, and I think that's why players love him. Marcus Stroman loves him. Aaron Judge loves him. Rizzo loves him. There's a lot of guys that love him. Big G. all the guys that are really important to the locker room love him. Now, I do think that it goes a little deeper than just because he's their friend and all that stuff, but the players definitely love him. That's his strength. And but I just think it's important to have both sides of an argument. I would say that his biggest strength is that he's able to have pros totally love him. That wasn't a strength of Girardi's, but on the other side of the coin, Girardi was much better at bullpen management, much better at at the finer details in which to manage game by game. Boone doesn't quite have that. And I think that's holding him back, especially holds him back in the playoffs. When you hear Joe Girardi in the booth, and now I can say this freely because Rob's not here. Rob hates Joe Girardi for whatever reason, but I can say this freely. When Joe Girardi is in the booth, he's it looks like he's playing chess when everyone's playing checkers. Like he's always thinking 3-4 steps ahead, and he says it very clearly. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Aaron Boone has never struck me as someone that can actually do that, right? But what the Joe Girardi doesn't have is his ability to establish connections and rapport with players. That's what Boone really excels at, and that's why Boone is still here. In fairness, that's why he's still here. He's much better at the collaborative approach, and he's much better at listening and making his own plans and stuff like that. And it works by and large. But when it comes to the playoffs, you kind of want someone with Joe Girardi's IQ that can always think ahead and strategize and plan. And that's why Joe Girardi was more successful in the playoffs than Aaron Boone was.
Yeah, I think we've gone over. Yeah, we've since we were talking about this even when the channel formed, when Girardi was still the manager. It was time for Girardi it was time to move on from him. We knew the time was coming. I think we always said the timing of it sucked because they were just on that cusp in 17. Right? And now you're seeing on the other side of it with like Girardi was very hard on the players when they weren't playing well.
And I like that.
And that was the whole big thing where it's like, he's killing their confidence and all that shit. Then we get Boom, he wants to be everybody's cheerleader.
Yeah.
And there are players that it's worked for. And then there are players it doesn't work for.
Exactly
some people elevate with criticism, some don't. I happen to think Boone is more adjusted to who needs the kick in the ass and who just needs a talking to. I think he does read the room well on that behind the scenes.
Well, not necessarily, because you've seen Gleyber Torres for years now, and he's someone that desperately needs a kick in the ass.
Well, that I think is an organizational flaw. They're too patient with the players when they're not playing well. They get too long of a leash. We saw it with so many players. What?
The best aspect of a manager is someone that can get the right combination, right? Not be too extreme. You don't want to just be kicking someone's ass, right? But you also don't want to be too soft either. You need to kind of figure out someone's personality. Like me personally, I don't react too well with too much negative reinforcement. I quite like positive reinforcement. Uncle Tats, now obviously in your position, you obviously have to work with people and you have to figure out, right, which is the best. Yeah. How do you get the best out of someone? And the same for me when I run my business. It's important that you figure out the best way to rapport with people to get the best out of them. Otherwise, it might not work. So Aaron Boone is getting there. He's getting better. I do think he's getting better. I think when he first started, he looked a little bit out of his depth, but he's starting to improve in that area. Is it enough for us to become World Series champions? Then that a question, but we'll see.
Yep. You brought up work real quick before we get into the closing segment about tonight's game and the matchups. You brought you brought up my job, and at work yesterday, one of my friends that I work with was texting with another friend of his who is she's a big Cincinnati Reds fan. Was down the street from the Great American Ballpark. Alex, hello. Hope you did follow through and subscribe to watch. And yeah, my friend does not watch baseball at all. So knowing that he's in New York, she's trash talking, about the Yankees. So I'm on the other side of the table feeding him all the information to text back to get, to give arguments. And so yeah, if you're wondering who he was getting the information from, that was me. So
yeah, there's a few things we want to touch on before we finish off.
Yes.
Aaron Judge, for some reason, we've not mentioned this insane season he's had, man.
We got to end on a high note. That's why we're waiting.
Yeah, but then there's also kind of a negative connotation to it because he's having the greatest season I've ever seen at this stage. Yet the Yankees, I'm starting to think that the Yankees aren't built to actually get the most out of him. I'm really worried about this, man. He's already having a better year than the Bryce Harper's 2021 MVP season. You look at the numbers that Aaron Judge has. If that was finished, that's a great year. But he's still got a full half season to go. He's probably going to beat his 62. He's on course to beat it. All ends up. He's that good. He's Jonathan. He could have a chance for a triple crown. He's number one across the board. OPS, home runs, RBIs, batting average, the law. Like it's insane. He's so good. But at the moment, the Yankees are letting him down. The Yankees are failing him. And I'm not going to sit around and I'm not going to sit and cheerlead an organization which is letting down someone who is giving us Hall of Fame numbers every year, and the Yankees are not showing up. You got to beat the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds have like 3 good hitters, 1 excellent one. De La Cruz is brilliant. I love watching De La Cruz, right? But come on, who we faced last night had like a 5.50 ERA, and we made him look like fucking. We made him look like Cy Young. We were asleep for the first 5 innings for no apparent reason, and that can't keep happening, man. We are facing a very, very good Orioles team in the division. The Orioles are right there, neck and neck. If we continue to struggle in these home series against the Reds, then it's all going to be for nothing, and we're going to be a wild card team, and then we're going to be in some serious shit, and that's purely our own fault. We've got to be winning these series. We've got to be winning these series against the Cincinnati Reds. No disrespect to Cincinnati. They've got a good organization. They've got lots of talent, but it's not the Yankees. We've got Juan Soto. We've got Aaron Judge. Come on, people. So I don't think we can afford to be a wild card team, Lou. Not with the amount of teams that are going to be in the wild card. And at the moment, I've not seen the Yankees navigate the playoffs very well. So I want us to be in the best position to succeed possible. I'm not sure if we could do that as a wild card team. It's going to make things a lot more difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it makes things more difficult. We should be winning this division. But we're not going to win the division playing like this. We can't go 5-2. We can't get blown out against the Mets 2 games in a row. Can't get blown out and then also take on the Reds and then almost get blown out there, but then we come back, but still not a good outing. I'm worried now. I'm starting to get worried, and it's a disgrace because Aaron Judge is having one of the greatest seasons ever. Again. So fix it. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it.
Yep. And it goes to the depth of the lineup. And here we go again, rinse and repeat. The cleanup spot. This is where we're missing Stanton. Stanton was Judge's protection. And look at what he's been able to do without the protection in the lineup.
Yeah.
Think of how much better his at bats are going to be if he has somebody legit behind him. You know, you can't put Verdugo back in the cleanup spot because he hasn't been really looking.
No.
He hasn't looked too good. Somebody had said putting Rice behind Judge. No, I wouldn't do that. I do have a name of who I would put in the cleanup spot for, and just for the next couple of games, just to see how the chemistry goes.
Go for it,
LeMahieu.
Dude, I don't know, like one extra base hit,
but his at bats have been better. So you're starting to see. I don't know.
That's a risk, man. With his ground ball, everything is a ground ball with him.
True.
He's giving us something.
He's kept putting me. Yeah, I'll take the. No. Yeah, that's an L on me.
That's an absolute L. That kind of happened, man. He's like, what? No, man. I love DJ as much as.
Torres instead.
No.
So who's your number 4 hitter? Exactly.
Listen. Verdugo can't be a cleanup hitter. Torres is not a cleanup hitter. And DJ LeMahieu is just a ground ball machine, so he can't be a cleanup hitter either. If anything, Ben Rice probably could. Probably. His at-bats are much better. There isn't. I'll give you one thing. There isn't a ton of options.
No. Right? Well, that was the whole point of me doing that.
I would say Rice is probably the more better equipped. But that's why the Yankees absolutely need to be looking at the third base market and getting someone that has some power. Because we can't rely on Big G as much as I love Big G, but he's too injury prone. And it's on the Yankees really for not addressing these needs in the offseason. And this is 1 year where we absolutely have to win. There's no option. Juan Soto is going to test free agency. That's just a fact. He's shown no willingness to negotiate before then. He's going to test free agency. The Yankees are guaranteed Soto for the rest of the year. They have to have a great team. And their decision-making with the bullpen has turned out to be a mistake. And I'm starting to worry about their lack of depth outside of Stanton.
Yep. God, after Judge,
is right. I put right.
Yeah. Well, Jahmai Jones is the cleanup. Possibly Trent Grisham, smart bat.
I like Trent Grisham, but I like him where he is. In the 8th or 9th spot.
I think if we really had to, as much as Rice would have to be the cleanup guy. He's the only one with a competent bat in the after the top 3. Torres is making his way into that category.
You said DJ LeMahieu. I want to know why you said DJ LeMahieu. Come on.
I'm just trying to start shit.
What?
You think I have that much faith in DJ? Come on. I'm just trying to have fun.
Put him in cleanup. I want to know why you put him in cleanup.
I just picked it. My guy.
Who's picked the name out of the hat?
Yeah, actually, I did.
Jesus.
We're having a lot of laughs on the show. I'm just trying to keep it going. But no, there's no way. Come on. Give me a little more credit than that. I've said some stupid things on these shows throughout the years.
You said it. What about DJ LeMahieu? What is it about DJ that you would have wanted cleaning up?
Nothing. He's a ground ball. He's a double play guy. Instead of DJ, it's DP.
Well, all right. Now, I mean, what do we do about this Verdugo Volpe situation? Because I think Volpe needs to be stealing more bags, but he can't steal more bags at the top of the order. But he's not getting on base. He can't steal first.
Yeah, his on base is struggling. Absolutely.
Verdugo's not a cleanup hitter. The dude can't hit right now. Do we swap?
And what? Put Verdugo in leadoff?
and Volpe
And
at cleanup,
Volpe and cleanup,
or the 5-hole behind Ben Rice.
I think there's enough of enough evidence where you could actually justify it taking that chance is a good thing. I would do it.
Okay. What about the chat? What would the chat say to that idea? Yankees wait until Dominguez gets back. That's true. They are. Frederick Verdugo. If you move Volpe, put him at 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I think he's just in a slump. I don't think it's anything severe.
No. It's just
but
that's what he's saying. Put him in the 5 spot. Switch him and Verdugo. So you'll have Verdugo, Soto, Judge, Rice, Volpe, Torres, LeMahieu, Wells, and Grisham. Like, that's your 9.
My reasoning is I'm wondering whether Verdugo is not his best self because he's in a power spot and that's not him. I'm wondering whether moving him back to leadoff, which is he's basically done his entire career, might help him. Mm-hmm. And then Volpe, in turn, he might steal more bases out of the leadoff spot because he's afraid to steal bases in front of Soto and Judge. So I'm wondering whether moving him down the order, he'll be more comfortable to steal more bags because we are missing his speed threat.
Speed, yeah.
I
think I think you're onto something there with that. Is he going to be a leadoff hitter long term? Yes. But with the struggles of getting on base to begin with, then what's the point of having him in front of, Soto and Judge if he's not on base to do anything?
Yeah.
So might as well just put Verdugo back in, put him in the leadoff spot like he was in Boston.
Yeah. I mean, that's where he's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Boone's done some weird and wonderful things in the past. I mean, we can name some of the crazy leadoff hitters he's had in the past. So I'm sure it's worth investigating just to see.
About Rice, Volpe, Soto, Judge. Do you want to take it? Do you want? No, you got to leave.
No. You can't have Rice and Volpe getting the majority of the at bats. Mm-hmm. You want the majority of the at bats going to one of your stars, i.e., Soto or Judge.
Yep.
Dodger fan for life.
Not having the same problem. Focus on your pitching. Pitching wins World Series. Make the dance and get hot. Don't panic over regular season. Pitching. No, it really is. Once you get in, then you just got to hope everything clicks. And then Li, we always love his opinions on it. We didn't even bring up Cabrera as an option. My ideal postseason lineup with the current team: center field, Jason Dominguez; right field, Juan Soto; DH, Judge; left field, Verdugo; short, Volpe; first, Rice; second, Glaber; catching, Wells; third base, Cabrera. That's not bad. I don't know if I would want to take Judge's defense out of play, especially in the postseason.
I don't know about Oswaldo Cabrera, but
Cabrera is on a daily basis.
I don't like Verdugo cleanup. That's not something that we can have. You can move Dominguez as a cleanup hitter, though.
Maybe switch Verdugo and Dominguez.
And he's already forgotten about Giancarlo Stanton, who's having an all-star caliber year until he went hurt.
He left off Stanton. He left off DJ.
Yeah.
Hating.
That's true.
No, but where LI's thinking, and I've said this a few times, Cabrera he's got a history of when the pressure is on in a big RBI moment, Cabrera does put together great at bats. So in a postseason,
so does DJ. He's actually at his best with runners. But someone who is really good with runners in scoring position is Stanton.
Yes, yeah, no, you can't leave him off the postseason. No.
As much as people hate him for whatever reason, the dude is great with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, no, and I know a few people. Look, Dominguez definitely is the future. Is DJ washed up? I don't think I don't think we can make that determination just yet. Just because he didn't have a full, the same thing with Judge. Not having a full spring, it takes a while to get things clicking. So I don't think you can make us a fair evaluation on LeMahieu just yet.
Yeah, that was the thing. Remember last year, DJ had the same situation. He was horrible in the first half of the year. Everyone thought he was done. And then the second half of the year, he actually started to look like the old DJ. Maybe that could happen this time.
Yep.
But Li does have a good point. His bat speed is in the 1 percentile. I am worried about that. He ground balls. His ground ball rate is ridiculous. So I'm not defending him, but I also think that it's fair to say that I don't believe that DJ has completely forgotten how to hit. That's hard for me to say just yet. But do I think he's an everyday third baseman? Absolutely not. Do the Yankees need to go in the trade market and get an upgrade at third base? Absolutely. I think DJ is much better as a platoon guy. Someone that can share time at second, share time at first, share time at third. That flexibility would help us immeasurably. I don't believe he's an everyday player anymore, but I believe he's better than some people are giving him credit for.
Mm-hmm. No, he's a phenomenal utility guy off the bench at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Same thing like with the Cubs World Series with Zobrist. Just plug him wherever you can just to keep, because he can contribute in a different way than as your traditional everyday player. I think DJ's in that category now.
His glove is fantastic. You could put him in late inning scenarios if you want to tighten up your defense at first, second, or third. He can do that and do that at a high level. Maybe even as a guy that you want in a clutch spot. But I think that's probably his role now. I wouldn't go much more beyond that. But the Yankees absolutely non-negotiably have to upgrade and get some more power in this lineup because we can't have this situation where our cleanup hitter is Verdugo or another. Like that can't happen.
Yep. No, look.
JD Davis, give me a break.
Why'd you have to bring him up?
Oh, really? He's better than fucking Jamai Jones. So, we are in a tough spot here.
Yeah. What? It's.
That's true.
Dominguez might not play with the last. No, look, Dominguez will make his way back. I'm not worried about that. He had the surgery. He had a little setback. It is what it is. It happens to, I would say, 60% of the players will always have that setback.
You're percent right.
No, I don't.
He is 100% right.
Come on, look. Li could be a pain in the ass.
No, he's spot on, man. Because this has been going on for years. Well, we've had many a debate about this.
I would like to believe Li would be like, he would give him credit, but he would also add to the credit. Let's just see how long it lasts. The oblique isn't as bad as I hope not. I hope the oblique isn't as bad. 2 months is a little step back.
Well, a lat strain, that's not something you rush.
No,
isn't in my thinking right now. He really isn't.
Yep. But you see a lot where players will get injured, and then you'll see while they're rehabbing, because they're trying not to re-injure the shoulder. They'll put too much, they'll put too much, imbalance on their legs, and they pull a muscle. You see that, more often than not. So when players have those secondary injuries, while they're rehabbing, I'm not surprised. It's kind of expected at this point.
Good point from Albert here. It's good to see Albert in the chat. he's right to this extent. I'll tell you what, Spencer Jones is absolutely on fire right now. Spencer Jones is crushing the ball. He's already on his 10th home run of the season, and he's been absolutely on fire. So Spencer Jones, let's see, he's raised his OPS 48 points in a week. 333 slash line, 815 OPS over his last week. So he's absolutely crushing it. So let's be excited about Spencer Jones. I don't think we're far away from Spencer Jones at all. Spencer Jones will get called up in 2025. I think so too. For me, if you're talking about untouchables, Spencer Jones is that guy.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely, Spencer Jones is off the table. There's no freaking way. Because unless you're keeping Verdugo, which at this point you're not, which is weird because a month ago we were saying, we were evaluating, should he get it, should they give him, a contract because he was killing it. And then all of a sudden he just completely fell off the map. But we'll, look, the moral of the story, the Yankees just have to deepen their lineup. They have to strengthen the bullpen. Absolutely, strike zone. Kick rocks. You ain't going anywhere. But that is going to wrap things up for us. But we do hope that everybody had a fun day, a fun show.
I want to thank everyone for watching. We had a ton of views.
Yes,
it was great. So I want to say a big thank you for everyone that's been watching on a Wednesday morning.
Yep. And if you are watching and you wanted to get into the chat, it's very simple. Just hit that sub button and hit that like button. Share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This has been another show on the Pitchside Chronicles, where fans become family. We
Uncle
will be
Tat,
back.
Before we sign off, what's your plans for the 4th of July?
I have my nephew's engagement party tomorrow night. But before that, you know exactly where I'll be. I'll be on the boat.
On the boat.
Fishing in the morning, partying at night, and then hopefully I'll be in condition to do the show on Friday.
I hope so. We'll have our awards for Friday. But I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July when it comes. Happy America's birthday. And enjoy it. Share time with your family, friends, and all that stuff. And have a great time. See the fireworks wherever you guys are. And God bless America.
Be safe with them too. Be very careful.
Exactly. But most importantly, God bless America.
Yep.